Okay.
All right.
It is 9 o'clock in the morning on a Saturday,
Yes, sir.
and Crinkle Binkley's here,
That's true.
and we're double fisting coffees and beers. Cheers!
Cheers, sir. Cheers, sir. Thanks for having me.
Welcome to A Great Depression, a podcast for every mall rat, Jansport, backpack emo kid, which you are all three of,
Very true.
guaranteed. Struggling with the boredoms of everyday adult life. Dawson,
Yes, sir.
let's hit the fucking music. Broadcasting very early this morning from the Union Fitness studios. Union Fitness is more than a traditional gym. It's a place where you can transform yourself inside and out based around a variety of classes like fitness, yoga, strength, and performance training. What'd you think when you walked through today?
It was nice. It seemed spacious. Everybody seems to be doing their own thing. It doesn't seem too crowded, so it seems like an ideal Saturday morning
Yes.
lifting spot.
Yes,
Exercise spot. Yeah.
or drinking spot.
True.
Yes.
We're going to turn into that here in a second.
At Union Fitness, they believe it is their duty to hold themselves and their clients to a higher standard. They practice what they preach and uphold the values that make Union Fitness the community that it is. Go to unionfitness.com today. Sign up for a consultation. Through Union, there is strength. Mike Dawson.
Yes, that's me.
He's here. He's there. He's every fucking where. Roy Kent.
Yes, much like Roy Kent.
Much like Roy Kent, all the way in from, I don't want to call it the boonies because we're both from that general area, but we'll call it Clarion County.
Yeah, it's a trek up 28.
Yeah.
And it's right there. You can't miss it.
I think first we would be absolutely remiss if we just didn't start with what are you drinking? Because you were talking about your beer, and I want to make sure we show it.
Oh, the beer that we have.
Oh, you opened up the other
I
one?
made the pivot to yours. It's
Nice.
the Imperial Stout.
Who's it from? Is that the Voodoo? Yeah.
I can't read, so
Yeah.
this will be difficult today.
Understandable. Understandable. I'm sipping on, and then you have a Commonplace coffee.
I do.
How's that?
I've already slammed it.
No,
for the most
oh,
part.
wow. You drank the whole thing.
It's but like 3/4.
Fantastic. Commonplace is pretty cool. We've interviewed the owner of Commonplace on the Union Fitness podcast. Hands down the most, like, if the Big Lebowski was a fucking guy, that's this dude. He is the dude. It's fucking awesome.
Well, they make a good brew, so
There you go. I have a super flavored Sheets coffee because I'm a little child and that's what I need my coffee to taste like. And then I just have a good old icy light. Ted Lasso.
Yep.
Best show on TV?
It's definitely up there. I enjoy it. It's the most recent episode. Like it was you got the locker room feel, like the banter back and forth with the boys, and I like that. Sometimes shows don't really get that, like teammates busting each other's balls and stuff.
No, I loved that part of it. Mike Dawson is a high school soccer and basketball coach on the women's side, which is super fucking cool. Did you go in wanting to do the women's side to begin with, or was like, how did that all transpire?
So this will be my 6th year as a varsity coach, and I started for 2 years as a junior high coach just out of like necessity. They reached out to me and another former teammate who were still in the area, and they're like, "Hey, like nobody's coaching, like so like if nobody comes out, that team will fold, kind of thing, and and then that intern might kill the varsity programs and stuff." So he and I just jumped into it. I did it for 2 years, and then the girls coaching spot opened up before the boys coaching spot opened up. So I jumped to that, and we've been successful since then. So
very successful. Won a championship in soccer last year,
and then 2 years ago won in basketball as the assistant. So 2020 was all right for me, outside of a whole global pandemic thing.
Yeah.
But like sports wise, it was all right.
And Chelsea won a Champions League.
Yeah, that was I don't remember most of the post-match portion of it.
Sure.
And the only thing I do remember is that it was close to a $400 bill on merchandise.
Oh.
I got a little too boozy and just went all in to remember it.
we were I'm right there with you because on 2 beers deep this week we were trying to figure out how much I had spent on Bucks merch.
It's a lot.
Yeah.
You gotta just soak it in when this happens.
Yes, and especially like the Bucks winning a championship is very close to a soccer championship in some way, shape, or form because the Bucks will not win again, probably if ever, but at least for another 5 years.
It's a lot like the Leicester run.
Right.
Where you're just like, this is special. Let's just dive in and enjoy every bit of it. You know.
Are we willing to say right now that Giannis is Jamie Vardy?
I think so. Came from nothing, worked his way up, and got all the success. You know, like that's an easy comparison.
That's hilarious. Giannis, like one of the most freakish athletes, like naturally talented people on the planet. Jamie Vardy just being the dude.
Party Vardy.
Vardy. So like, how fucking fulfilling is it, like coaching high school kids?
It's pretty rad. Like, but whenever I played, we were always like a playoff team and stuff. So like, I never got over that hump. Like even in like we only got to the semifinals and stuff whenever I played. So last year, when we got to the semifinals and won, like it was just like kind of like an overwhelming feeling for me. So like the monkey got off my back,
right?
And then like I'm helping kids do stuff that I didn't do whenever I played, and then it was just that title win was just because that was the first one for our school for the girls' side, so it was just even more special that run.
Oh, that's awesome. I coached my brother's roller hockey team when I first got out of college, and that was a team that like I was there when the program was like founded. Like that was kind of like how I got introduced to roller hockey, and it was my secondary team behind ice, but that's where all my friends were.
Yeah.
Like I wasn't really close with anybody on the ice hockey team, really. There was like one or two guys. But like the roller hockey team, like to this day, still like talk to these guys regularly. And so to be able to go back to that program and feel like, well, I mean, we only lost 2 games the entire regular season, and then we got beat in the playoffs without our best player. Just saying. But you know, that like that memory, and like the best part was I got to coach my brother.
Yeah.
Which was just this beautiful like little like moment in time, and since then I've always thought about going back to coaching.
Yeah, it's definitely worth it. Like the group that I have now, it's kind of funny because like I'm coaching like relatives of the kids I played with. So like
that's crazy.
So like you're still seeing the same family members coming to those games that were at our games. So yeah, so you're cousins, nieces and nephews. I've got a cousin that's still playing. She'll be a senior this year. So it's just that's just a small town kind of thing.
Right.
You leave and then you come back and everybody's still the same.
Yeah, I think I had one younger brother of a kid that I played with, and then family members and stuff. But like I'd watch these kids because I watched all my brother's games, so I watched these kids grow up, and it was just always so frustrating watching like they were playing the wrong positions. Like the coaches weren't like the coaches were just dads and shit. Didn't even call for like line changes and stuff. And I'm like screaming from like the stands, like change the lines. And my mom's like hit me like shut the fuck up. And I'm like I know more than them. Like if they just changed the line and they moved this guy to forward, and then like I'll never forget the first practice. I was like, all right, go line up at the position you think you play. And then I was like, all right, now you play defense, you play, and then like, well, I've been playing. I'm like, shut the fuck up. This is what you do now.
You might have been playing there, but that's not where you should have been playing.
Yeah. You are one of the only people who can skate backwards. You have to play defense.
I feel like that's an important part of hockey.
Right. So I don't know that I've ever told you this.
All right.
You introduced me to a very important artist in my life.
Okay.
An artist that would be the beginning conversation that I had with my would-be wife.
All right, I feel good now.
Okay, great, awesome. Childish Gambino.
Oh yes, sir. Yeah.
That was Frank and I were up to no good, and we had walked into your dorm room and you were laying on your bed and you were playing Freaks and Geeks.
Yep.
And I dead stopped and I was like, "What is that? Like, this is fucking cool." And then you showed me like the whole fall EP, and I just dove headfirst into Childish Gambino. And then realized that Donald Glover, the person, is even more impressive than Childish Gambino. Kind of like made him like a little hero of mine. Because I love that he was a legitimate triple threat where he could write, act, and sing. And was giving a presentation on my future goals for this like really bad fraternity thing. And Anastasia just happened to be there and was listening, and she stuck around to talk to me because I was talking about Childish Gambino. So you created a very happy marriage. Yeah.
Hey. If I can do that for other people, maybe eventually I'll do that for myself. We'll figure it out. We'll figure it out.
But I don't think I had ever told you that, and I was like, oh, I can't wait to tell him on the podcast.
Yeah, that's the first I heard that story. That's heartwarming. I like that.
How did you find?
Oh boy. I think it was just somebody on Facebook shared one of his songs or something, and then I was just like, that looks like the guy from Community, and then I was like, oh, that is the guy from Community, and then I just dove into it. So that's where I started to follow him from that show, and then it would have been whenever that his first full-length album came out. We actually me and two of the college buddies, Greg and Matt, made a trip to Maryland for like the day that album released. We were at that show and just took this. It was just on a whim. As college kids do, you drink and like, let's buy 5 fucking tickets and go to this. And then we did, and we ended up getting a speeding ticket right in there. So that's how it started. And then like we get there and we're like, all right, we're parked, right, whatever. Let's go in and grab something to eat. Because the venue's right here, we can walk out, get back in line, and then we get out, and then like you look at the line, you're like, oh shit, it's around the block, it can't be that far, and then like we had to take a couple treks there to.
Wow.
So it was just loaded. It was a pretty surreal moment though. It was pretty fun, but like that's what you got to do. You just gotta like do shit on a whim, and that's usually where the best stories come out of. So that's one of my fonder like concert going memories. Like, let's drive to Maryland for the hell of it and go see them.
So was it camp?
Yeah, it would have been the first day camp drop.
That's incredible. Because that played through. You weren't in the in that part of the studio often, but like the Academic Media Center camp played on every fucking speaker for the better part of our senior year.
Yeah, that was when we were still getting shuttled down. So most of my classes were down here in the city.
Yeah.
Which brings me to one of my other memories was we just brought a case of beer on the shuttle.
That was the best.
And we were just in the back of a shuttle just drinking beer before our class.
Best.
Just it was our own like personal power hour. Getting a chauffeur
and so me, you, Frank, Molly Stofan was her name at the time. I don't think Kenya could drink, so I don't know that she did because of her kidneys. But like we just killed a case of beer.
Yeah, somebody just it was either you or Frank. You're just like, hey, I brought this case of beer. Let's just drink it. And you're a destructive little hooligan when you're in college. You're like, this is a great idea. Nothing bad could happen with this,
That's that is an all-time memory. And then I remember being drunk in class, and I got through the drawing class okay because I was inebriated and was just like, look, I'm drawing on paper. But it was when Melissa Martin. Did you take screenwriting at all or script writing?
No, I did not.
Okay, so script writing, Melissa Martin is like.
Did she do storyboarding?
Yeah, storyboarding as well. Okay, but she was like just this prolific, like one of the first. So there's like a collection of college professors, right? Where when you meet them, you never forget them and the things they taught you. I think Bacher was that for a lot of us. Yes. But like she was that for me as far as like the first teacher that ever acknowledged that like I wasn't dumb, I just can't read. She took one of my papers and she looked at it, one of the the screenplays I'd written, and she's like, are you fucking retarded? That's what she said to me. And I was like, no.
I don't think so.
I mean, like, I'm in college. I'm a junior. Like, I've gotten this far. And she's like looking at it. And then she like starts giving me like a reading comprehension test. Because she's just like fascinated how this kid has gotten this far in life. Right? And she's like, oh, so you're not dumb. You just can't read. And I was like, yeah. And she's like, how did you get to college without being able to read? So she like became fascinated with me as just like a case study. But I was hammered for her class, and the look on her face when she saw me drunk
and just noticed it, like,
yeah, she was just like, she like went to go ask me a question, and I was like, and it was like, okay, all right, Josh came to my class drunk, fantastic. That's not my favorite college memory.
Yeah, the bus ride down. That's one of mine. But what's yours here?
Okay, is Mike Dawson, when he moved into the apartments, managed to secure the proper apartment to be able to get onto the roof.
Yeah, it's our porch.
Your
That's
porch.
what we called it. We
That's
called it
right,
our
the
porch in college.
Not have been on the porch, but we were on the porch
shouldn't have
all
been
the
on
time.
there. We should. So if you're on the first floor or the second floor of Robert Morris's colleges, you can get onto the awning that you walk into, and you can have a porch for your entire year of schooling.
Yes, and somehow your big group got the adjacent ones
Yes.
that also got to the I don't know how you pulled that off, or just dumb luck.
I think it was a little bit of dumb luck. We all just went on the first floor, and then we realized, oh, we could just not walk through a hallway and still get to your apartment. Let's just do this and come in that way.
So, needless to say, this beautiful trifecta of the porch and the 2 apartments created the ultimate party spot. And there were some bangers there.
There were also many nights the people directly above us would yell down, "Shut the hell up! Why are you guys up at 3 a.m? We're like, "This is our fucking porch. Get out of here. You can't be here." And they're like, "Hey, we were a menace to that second floor and that entire building." But
the other is the fancy night parties.
The fancy nights. We ended up. Great guy, Frank. Frank is the best. He's the toughest guy I know. I love that guy. We ended up with like cafeteria workers at one of the fancy nights that we had. So we had like, I don't know how he did it.
Was Steve at fancy night?
No, Steve was not at fancy night. If Steve was at fancy night, I'm sure there would have been a lot more photographic evidence of that night happening. I'm trying to think. There's at least 2 or 3 that just showed up, and we're just like, all right, let's fucking rage.
Yeah,
this is a night that's not going to get replicated ever again, and it's just going to be. It was amazing. It was just fancy nights. A lot of it was just you'd go to the thrift store and buy something stupid that looked nice.
Right.
And so it was just it was just a reason to fuck about, and they're always very entertaining.
So gentlemen had to have a jacket, and ladies had to have a dress.
Yep.
Or if you wanted to wear a jacket as a lady or a dress as a man, that was also appropriate.
Also acceptable.
Yeah. But yeah, man, like just every moment. What about fucking the Nerf gun war?
I don't think I was privy to that moment.
Okay. But like all of my memories of you are attached to happy things. So like literally like introduced me to the artist that I married my wife basically because of, and then like all the fucking awesome times we had.
I like to party. That's what it comes down to. I just like to party. Which is probably why I ended up, taking a victory lap at Robert Morris,
I like to party. He Van Wildered the situation at Robert Morris.
Yeah, I was very Burt Kreischer-esque in that capacity.
And you were in a fraternity, right?
I was Alpha Chi Rho.
Woo! Was that the one that got kicked off campus?
Like in the 90s, yes.
Oh, okay. That was like the bad boy club.
Yeah, and then they brought it back when I was there. And the only reason I ended up joining it was my older brother who was in it, around the time they got kicked out or shortly after he left. He's like, "Hey, they got free chicken wings down here. Do you want to come?" I go, "Free food? Fuck yeah." And then like it turned into, so I was like the only senior or like the upper class. I was the only upperclassman in that group, and then there was a batch of junior or underclassmen that wanted to get everything together, and then that's just where it kind of happened. We just kind of steamrolled it from there.
I didn't know you had a brother.
I did have 2. So I got an older one and a younger one, and the younger one, he coaches with me, or he has coached with me in the past, both in soccer and basketball, and now he's doing his own basketball thing at the same school I'm at. And then I got 2 sisters, so.
Wow, there's a lot of Dawsons.
A lot of coaching involved, and
very cool.
It is. It's
very
a nice
cool
little
sports family.
Yeah, it is.
That's awesome. So, did you all go to Robert Morris?
No, just 2 of us.
Okay, all right. The first 2, and they're like, "All right, enough fucking going to Robert Morris. Like, you kids need to go to a real school."
Yeah, in my head, I was like, he's doing all right for himself. He went to Robert Morris. We'll do that. And then they're like, "Well, he graduated. You can get some scholarship money because he graduated." I go, "Even better, perfect." And then they're like, "You could get some more money if you do better on the SATs." And I'm like, I don't ever want to take the SATs more than once. Why would I do that? Why would I ever do that?
No. I didn't even take the SATs. I took the other one.
That's been so long ago.
Yeah, no. Because again, I can't read. So
you might have signed up for the wrong one.
I could have very well. I just remember the captain of the ice hockey team, Dave Wolf, shout out to my guy, was like, because also not necessarily a gifted student, was like, Josh, there's an easier SAT. We just can't go to like big schools. And I was like,
Sign me
okay,
up.
yeah,
I'm in.
no brainer. There we go. That's easy. It's like the PCAT or I can't remember what the fuck it was, but like that's what we both ended up taking that one, and he went to Slippery Rock or IUP. So we got in.
That's the
We
important
made
thing.
it. Yeah.
It got you just far enough.
Right. Ted Lasso. Let's go back to Ted
Yeah.
Lasso. Were you a Scrubs guy?
Yeah, I enjoyed I enjoyed Zach Braff and that whole Scrubs crew.
Mm-hmm.
And then you find out that he ends up directing some of those, which is
Right. Well, Bill Lawrence, the creator of Scrubs, created Ted Lasso. That's why I was curious.
Yeah.
Like Jason Sudeikis is like. All right, so spoiler alert. Okay, this is your. You can we'll jog forward 10 minutes or something. Okay,
roughly.
If you are not caught up to season 2, episode 3 of Ted Lasso, this season, with him battling his insecurities with the fucking shrink,
Doc.
it's killing me on the inside.
Yeah. Well, because what was in the first season? I think they alluded to that they tried to do like the marriage and counseling and stuff. I think.
Right.
So he's already got the headspace where it doesn't work because clearly his marriage doesn't work. Spoiler alert. Sorry.
Right. Well, we gave it to him. We're good. We're moving forward. Did you see the thing that he based this season of Ted Lasso off of the Foo Fighters song "My Hero"?
I did not see that. No.
Like, as if you couldn't, if you didn't like the show enough, Ted Lasso this season is based on fucking Foo Fighters' "My Hero." You're like, okay, cool, thank you.
Yeah, you can't mess up whenever you base something off Dave Grohl, right?
Right.
I feel like that's easy.
Quite honestly. What's been your favorite episode? I mean, there's only 3 of them. But...
of the new season?
Yeah.
I think I like the second one because you get the carryover from Roy coaching a youth team, which if you haven't seen it, Roy's a very salty, gruff individual. So him, yelling at small children.
Oi.
Yeah, him yelling at small children for not being good at soccer at like the age of 8 is perfect. And then that, you see his personal growth, and then because he goes on to become the the pundit at the talking head on that show, and then he's just blunt, and it's amazing. I wish more commentators they gave him to do that. Like in the new episode, it's like, what else do you have to say? Don't hold back. He's like, you're a shit manager, and you're like, not about me. It's like, yeah, but that's what you asked for.
But you asked like, what else do you have to say? Well, you were a shit manager. I think it's. Go ahead, keep going.
When was the moment that like you realized that like this is gonna be like a good show?
First episode.
Yeah. Because I think there was the line where it's like she's like, do you want some tea? And he's like, yeah, sure, whatever. And then it's like, well, what do you think of it? It's like, you know what? I always thought that tea was dirty brown water and or dirty hot brown water.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what it is.
Yeah.
And I go. That's the line that's gonna win me over.
I think.
But then you also watch like the commercials with the characters that it was based off of. So,
right.
So you already had like a general understanding of it. Oh, it's just a goofball. It's a mustache goofball that's talks in a southern drawl, and it's amazing.
I think I knew it was gonna be a good show, and I don't think I have like the moment, but it was that I watched the first episode, and I knew going into it that Bill Lawrence had created it, and I was like, okay, if we can get the comedy, the moral, and then the warm feeling at the end, we have Scrubs Jr. On our hands, and that first episode delivers that. And I think my favorite part is you don't have to like soccer to love this show.
No, like I just turned my dad onto the show. Like he refers to it as like, oh, what's that show with the football guy? And I'm like, you're talking about Ted Lasso. He's a football coach. I get it. So like that's what like he just called me up yesterday. Like I'm trying to catch up on that show. What's that show called?
That's
I'm like,
awesome.
here you go. Yeah, that's what it is. So it's like. It is for everybody. Like it's that's just what it is. It's perfect. I love that show.
Super strong female characters too, which Bill Lawrence is obviously known for. Yeah. Cougar Town being his show.
Yeah, and then like and everybody gets like character development. And sometimes that gets lost in the shuffle of stuff. So like the first season Jamie Tartt's a prick, and now in the second season he's got to realize, oh, I've got to like change personally to be a better person, a better teammate, kind of stuff. So like I think that's the arc that I'm most interested about in this second season, and you start to see that turn in the third episode.
Right. I think mine will be what. So they're famously on an 8-game tie streak.
Mm-hmm.
They lose the first game that's not a tie. They lose.
Yeah.
And in the middle of it, Sam, who is like the not star, but kind of like up and coming young kid that they have high hopes for, Nigerian player,
Mm-hmm.
Tapes over Air Dubai on his chest because he finds out that they're an evil company that's ruining his home.
Yep.
And in that moment, I thought was such a loud thing to do in 2021 for a TV show, and I was just like blown away that they were even doing it. Like I was so impressed with the whole thing.
Yeah, like it's yeah, because a lot of times, because the whole like story arc is like he gets his like big first advertisement campaign, and he's super happy about it, and so he's bragging about it to his family, and it's like you guys get free tickets on this airline, it's awesome, and like his dad was like, hey, like this is a shitty, like the parent company is a shitty company, and then you just see this like internal conflict. What am I gonna do? Do I take the money? And then push comes to shove, he ends up just taping over the sponsor, which is the big team sponsor. It's on the front of the jersey. And then from there, it was it was just a domino effect of his teammates being like, all right, if this guy's gonna do it, we're all gonna do it. Then that's what team sports are for. And and then you get to the press conference and they're asking Ted all about it, and he's just like, yeah, I back my team 100%. Like this is the right thing to do.
Yeah.
And it was it was very it was a very heartwarming moment because you got money on one hand, you could feed your family with it, and then it's like, but what do you do the right thing? Do you be a shitty person? Do you be a good person?
The name of the episode is "Do the Rightest Thing."
Yeah, and there is a B plot too where the owner also does the right thing in regards to Sam.
Yeah,
because the big sponsor wants him to be like, hey, he's not gonna do the ad campaign anymore, and it's like, well, sell him, and they're like, well, I'm not gonna sell this guy. Like, why would we sell this guy? So it's a nice, like, I don't know, just the writing is just so good from start to finish of each episode, and I think that's a testament for like each episode. I haven't seen like an episode that's like, oh, it's a filler episode.
Right.
I hate filler.
Right. I'm waiting for Nate the Great situation to come to a head.
I think, hopefully it's just like a boxing match with him and the new Kit Man.
Yeah.
Or something dumb. Like, it's going to come to something, or they're going to be best friends by the end of it. But
right.
But Nate the Great is, like the episode where, what is it? Chet Krim from The Independent.
Yeah.
He's like, so you're trusting your offense to him? What is he? He's like, he's a Kit Man. You're trusting it to the Kit Man? It's like, yeah. I guess he knows more, but he's forgotten more about soccer than I'll ever know.
Yeah, right. And I just love, like, especially in the world we're living in right now, where like John Elway's the GM of the Broncos, and like all of these great former athletes are now becoming in charge of, that kind of stuff. I'm wondering, when are we like going to see a real life Ted Lasso, where a guy who was good at a sport has to jump sports just because they can't climb the ladder anymore?
I think it's an interesting concept in general, but like I feel like it would be if like they had a kid that decided to play a different sport than what they played, and they had to like, because then you get that competitive mindset of like, oh well, I got to learn everything now. I got to like pick up everything. I got to pick up the nuances of the game. I got to learn the IQ. I got to learn the verbiage, and then I feel like maybe then it'll happen. But it'd be interesting to. I'm trying to think of if there's been anything remotely close to that outside of
Tony Khan works for the Jaguars and Fulham.
True.
So that's pretty cool. And then there was the guy who was the coach, something Rogers was the coach of the Sabres, also worked in football or soccer, European football, for like a couple of seasons. But I think his was more leadership development than it was X's and O's. So like there's inklings of it kind of spread in there. The reason this is all on top of my brain too is, have you watched any of the pop documentaries on Netflix?
I don't believe so.
Okay, worth it.
All right.
They do a whole one on auto-tune.
All right.
Do you know who created auto-tune?
I do not off the top of my head, no. I'm familiar with A Rocket to the Moon's early career of using auto-tune. I'm aware of that, yes.
Yes, exactly. Exactly. Oh, that was awesome. So a guy who his job was measuring earthquakes.
Okay.
And he was like, or finding oil. That was what it was. Finding oil, because you explode dynamite and then you measure how far it goes down to see if there's anything down there, right? And so you're reading the waveform just like you would or whatever, right? And then you have to like isolate the waveform and then figure out exactly how far down it goes or whatever. So he's at dinner one night with his wife and they're friends, and his friend's wife is a singer. And she goes, "Can you make me a box that makes me in tune at all times?" He goes, "Absolutely." He went home and made the software that night. And now, like, we have auto-tune. Right.
Hopefully he got a bag from that. They just backed the Binks truck up to him and like, "Take whatever you want, sir."
So I can't remember, I think it was T-Pain, because T-Pain's obviously in the episode. He's like the kind of the main character of that episode. But T-Pain goes, "Yeah, that guy must have made a lot of money." And then it cuts to this dude in this mansion. And you're like,
all right, good for him.
He did make money. Yes, he was able to make that work. Okay, great for him.
Off now. That's good.
Are you watching Dave?
I am. Because the auto-tune that cued into my head with this whole Alley song that he was doing. But it's been, the most recent episode, I didn't know that I didn't like bald Dave Bird until I saw it. And I was uncomfortable. I'm like, he should never go bald. Like, this is not a good look for him.
Right.
But you're like, you gotta do what you gotta do.
Okay, so shuttle forward 10 more minutes. Spoil if you're not caught up on Dave. I think after the first season, I think we talked about it. I said that it was the best show on TV. It was the best written show on TV, probably since Breaking Bad.
Yeah.
In any time you have a show where you get a 9-episode first season, 2 of them don't feature the main character, and those are the ones that win the awards, you're onto something.
You're pretty all right.
Right? I guess, who's your favorite side character at this point?
That's a good question. I feel like the easy answer is Gata.
Right.
But like,
yes.
But also like just the dry delivery that Andrew Santino has for Mike is also very good.
Mike with black hair, I also do not like.
Yeah, I don't like.
That freaked me out.
It was weird. I didn't like it. And then I also wasn't ready to see Kareem Abdul-Jabbar break his leg.
Yeah.
In the second season. You're like, what the hell is happening?
Were you aware of Little Dicky before the show?
I was. I'm trying. I mean, it's been ages since his first album came out, which is kind of, I guess, the plot of this second season, where it's taken forever to make a new one, or the first album, I guess.
Right.
But yeah, it's I think like between like that and Atlanta, like FX has like killed it with those kind of like written like
Atlanta,
drama and stuff.
Back to fucking Donald Glover.
Yeah, comes full circle.
Right.
Life's a circle.
My friend Sean Sweeney, who you know, if he watches the episode before me, he goes, "Did you watch Dave yet?" Because he wants to like talk.
Yeah.
And I'll be like, "No." And he'll be like, "Great Gata episode." That's like it's like, was this a good episode for Gata? And that like, it was literally, he sent me that text.
Was that before the
it was the birthday party.
Yeah, the birthday party.
And it was like, because halfway through that episode, you're like, what's gonna happen to Gata? Like, is he gonna get jumped? Is he gonna get arrested? Like, you're just like, and Sean's like, it's a good episode for Gata. I'm like, how? Like, poor fucking Gata. Like, what?
Nothing's going right for him.
Right. And then like all of a sudden at the end, when the kid's like, "Oh my God, it's Gata. Can you perform My Friends?" And then Gata, gets his moment, and it's just like,
yeah, it took me way too long to realize, what was it? Taco from Odd Future was L's. Yeah, I think like halfway through the first season, I go, this guy looks way too familiar. You hit the Google machine, you're like, oh, that's why, because that was in my college years.
Right.
Odd Future.
Right. Yes.
Like any suburban white kid.
Yeah, pretty much. Shit. So what are you listening to right now?
I'm kind of all over the map. There was a a moment where I'm just listening to like British hip hop for whatever reason. So like Songer and H and what was the other one? There's I have a whole playlist called Fish and Chips that I throw on. Outside of that, oh, what's new that's out there that Chris Aker, he's kind of like he's more folky. I have to play a wedding next weekend, so I'm listening to a lot of very very easy to learn country music.
There is this one country song I know that gets everybody going.
Is it Warm Beer by Frank Vieira?
It is Warm Beer
All
by
right.
Frank Vieira, yes. That is correct.
Warm beer is better than no beer.
That's how I understand it.
And
That's how I understand it.
That's how you should live your life.
That's
Frank,
right.
He's a visionary.
He was in the moment. He was. He really was. When he said that in college, we were like, oh. Although somebody else came up with it, right? Didn't somebody else? Did Matt say it?
I don't know. There was a lot of. It was kind of like a brain trust in those two apartments back and forth. There was a lot of dumb stuff said, and you're like, that has a grain of smart in it.
Yeah.
Let's try to siphon that out and expand on it. You know.
You guys were the first TikTok house. Just didn't have anywhere to put that energy.
Yeah, true. We had. Yeah, we. I'm sure there have been a lot more problematic things I would have had to delete from social media had TikTok been around when I was younger. Like I guess like any other kid growing up in our era, like Jackass was a big part of it. Yeah. So like there's small like VHS cassettes or whatever of like us just doing dumb shit. So like I've been trying to find it because like it'd be like a perfect social media tweet. It's like, oh, 31-year-old Michael, why do my knees hurt? And then like the next line is like 15-year-old Michael, and then like it's just me jumping off a roof with nothing below me to catch me, and my knees just buckle. And you're like, that's why you probably like tore a lot of shit. And you were just too dumb to realize.
And then went and played basketball later that day. Oh my God.
Like you brush it off and just go. Like, I'm sure there's a lot of incriminating small town, footage of me and my hooligan friends. The skate culture in New Bethlehem, Pennsylvania, you know.
Okay, straight up. Right now, you have to pick one or the other.
Okay.
Jackass or Viva La Bam?
I'll tell you what, like right now, I have on eBay, I have the 3 CKY VHSs queued up to purchase. So I'm going to throw a curveball and go with the CKY route. But out of those two, I think it'd be Viva La Bam, just because it was you get a lot more Ryan Dunn, and you know the random hero Ryan Dunn was he was a great person.
Rest in peace.
Rest in peace.
Favorite Viva La Bam episode?
I just saw a clip of it recently, on TikTok, where they were doing some race with somebody, and he they painted an empty garage on the garage door, and somebody ran through it with the car.
That's right.
Because I thought it was open.
Giant Wile E. Coyote bit.
Yeah, and Ryan Dunn goes, "Did you watch Wile E. Coyote before this?" He's like, "Yeah, I did. I watched it." So it's just like I don't know, man. That era of just like. It was good. It was good trash television.
MTV giving money to people who should not have money
no, not at all.
Was a brilliant model for gold television.
Yeah. And then you look back on it and you're like, well, a lot of them are have very problematic lives since then.
Yes. Yes. Mine is Treehouse Casino.
Okay. Yeah, you can rent Castle Bam on Airbnb now, by the way, in case you were curious about that.
I'm aware, but he doesn't own it, so the money doesn't go to him.
Oh.
So, like, somebody bought it underneath him when he was, really struggling and is now targeting me, and I'm not okay with it.
Yeah, I'd probably still stay there.
Yeah. I want there's an Airbnb that is a movie replica of the Ninja Turtles lair from the first Ninja Turtles movie.
That seems like a very good life choice to turn something into.
Yes. Like, I don't care how much that cost you, like A+. And you can charge me hundreds of dollars.
Does it come with a complimentary pizza or?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Like, pizza gets delivered and the whole 9 yards.
That's good then.
Yeah.
That's smart. They know their brand. They know their demographic. They did their research, their market research.
I would also, if somebody wanted to do a complete scale model of Arnold's room in Hey Arnold.
That was, I don't think it's like even an argument. Like, that was the coolest room in a cartoon. Yeah, roof access. You got your roof porch.
He does have a porch. He had a porch.
You got your roof porch. You got everything. He had a nice little little music area. He had everything.
He had
man.
the lights.
Yeah, he had everything. Outside of a normal shaped head, he had everything.
It's a good question. Coolest rooms in a cartoon. I think I always like lean towards like people's like workshops and shit.
Okay.
Like that was more like Dexter. Like
Yeah.
Dexter's laboratory. If like you gave me my druthers, that's what I would
That's
pick.
what you'd pick.
Yeah. Over the Arnold room.
Mm-hmm.
But I understand that I'm probably alone in that. But that was like literally like as a kid, I took my parents' old speakers from their turntable
Okay.
and figured out how to wire them and split off from the speaker system of the stereo I had gotten for like Christmas.
Mm-hmm.
So like figured out at a very early age how to add like a woofer and shit to like a basic like 6-change disc.
This is like 10-year-old Josh MacGyvering.
Right. With
a CD player.
with speaker wire and like how to make it like surround sound, and I would like test it by putting in Dark Side of the Moon and standing in the middle of my room like this, and like it's like, okay, does the echo go all the way around me? All right, perfect, I nailed it. And then like hanging up like Christmas lights that were blue so that it like glowed blue in my room and shit. So like basically was trying to create Dexter's Laboratory in my like very small, like my room was the size of this room we're in right now, so it was not big at all.
Oh yeah, I think that I think every kid like gravitates towards something like that. Yeah, and then like music taste and stuff. Like you don't understand like what clicks for you. Like the only reason I think I like ska is because of Tony Hawk Pro Skater.
Absolutely.
So like you look back and you're like, that's probably why I like it.
Goldfinger.
Damn
you, Superman.
Damn you, Superman.
My godson.
Mhm.
So his dad, Corey
Yes.
McLean, has kept all of his old video games.
Okay.
And he pulled out Tony Hawk Pro Skater 1 for his son. And the video I got sent, it was just like, I got him. Like that was like it was like he threw this net over his son, right? 2 days later, Connor has a skateboard now.
Perfect. That's what turned our little group into. It was Tony Hawk's Pro Skater, and then that turned into, all right, we got to do like tape trading kind of stuff, and that's where you come into CKY and all that stuff, and anything from Mike Vallely, and it's just like it's I don't know, man. It was a great time to be a child in that era.
It
man.
was.
Not a child, I guess like a preteen to but like there's just all this freedom, man. You didn't worry about shit.
We had enough technology to be exposed to things that we would not have been exposed to without it,
Mm-hmm.
particularly music and movies a little bit, like that kind of stuff. Like, I don't know how many of us see Boondock Saints without the power of the internet.
Sure.
But like,
when are you gonna use the fucking rope?
yeah, Johnny Bronson always got a fucking rope. What's the best scene from Boondock Saints?
Oh, I think it's the cat scene.
Yeah,
I think
that's the only correct answer.
It's traumatic, but I think that's the right answer.
It is correct. It's just, it is done. Boom. And then when Rocco falls back, he's like, I'm hit. I'm hit. It's just, and then
I think the line I quote most of was like, it was a firefight. I think
it was a firefight. Yes, is a great line. I've been really leaning on, I might be wanting a bagel with my coffee a lot lately. Huge fucking guy is always a good one.
Huge fucking guy.
But I think the best part of the entire movie is the next scene the next day when Rocco comes in and he's like, we gotta fucking go. I love that scene the most, okay? And so, because he's like running around grabbing shit, and they whip pan through the kitchen because Murph is like standing at the table, and you see where the cat got shot against the wall. There's still the blood splatter. They just taped a picture of the cat over the blood splatter. And like that every time brings
just pops
me
you
to tears. And then the two, Rocco, where's my cat? What name? What's the fucking name of the cat? So help me God, if you could give me the name of that cat, I'll fucking kill myself. She comes up with the name of the cat. Oh, what color was it, bitch? It's just, when we did that episode of Thoughts from the Movies, like Justin and I just quoted the movie back and forth to each other for pretty much 45 minutes. That was all
like,
it was.
I feel like if you find like another person whose like childhood like
Yeah.
encompassed that movie a lot,
Yeah.
they're good peoples.
We watched
They're good
it.
peoples.
We watched it weekly. It was like, oh, it's Saturday night. We're done playing Halo. Some people have fallen asleep. All right, Boondock Saints
Boondock
time.
Saints it is.
Yep.
Yeah, everybody kind of latches onto that kind of movie.
Right.
When you're growing up.
Is there anything you want to talk about today? We got like 15 minutes left.
Yeah, I'm trying to think like when was like the first time you realized like all right, I should do like video content.
Okay. So it's really funny because the week that this comes out also we'll be dropping AGD Radio.
Okay.
The all request one, which you lead off with a
Yep.
fucking ripper.
A banger.
Yes. So Justin Luteran's pick attributes to this.
Okay.
I won't give it away, but we used to make music videos to certain songs and things. And I had gotten, my parents gave me a handy video cam that took like little DVC tapes, and I would make like little movies in my backyard as a kid, and just stayed with cameras and editing and making things all through my childhood into my teenage years into high school. But I didn't know that this was a career until my senior year. Hockey's done. I realized like I had some options to keep playing, but none of them were like what I thought that was gonna happen. It wasn't like Wisconsin showed up and was like, "You're gonna be a Badger." Like, you know what I mean? Like that didn't happen. So I was like, okay, well, this all kind of sucks. And I remember like being very depressed going in to the TV studio, and Mr. Robbins, who is my hero still to this day, was like, so why are you so bummed out today? I was like, well, hockey's over, and like I don't really like, like I'd have to put off school to go keep playing, and like I don't think that's a good idea. And my dad's like really upset about the whole thing, and he's like, well, did you get into school yet? And I'm like, no, I haven't applied. It's February, right, of my senior year. And he's like, well, Josh, you could do this. And we were standing in the so we had a full TV studio in our high school, and we're standing in the control room, and he's like, you could do this for like a living. And I'm like, what are you talking about, Willis? Like, just had no fucking clue that like, oh, I could do this.
That was like a medium you can get into. Yeah.
Right. And he was like, yes. And then he was like, you haven't applied to anywhere? I'm like, no. And he's like, he was currently at Robert Morris getting his teaching degree. Very bizarre. Teaching high schoolers, but also getting his degree at the same time. Butler. And he knew Bacher.
Okay.
And that's how I got in.
All right. That was similar to me. Like, I didn't know that like graphic design was a thing. Like, I knew like I liked art. In my head, I was like, maybe I could be an art teacher because very Charlie Conway-esque. It's like I'm a better coach than a player already.
Right.
In my head.
Right.
So it's like, well, then like if I could become a teacher, I can become a coach because all the coaches you had in high school were like were teachers for you, and then that's not true. You can become a coach. But then like my senior year, it was like I took like a multimedia class, and then I was like, oh, you're telling me I can draw on a computer and sit in air conditioning for a career? And they're like, I don't know why the air conditioning is important, but this is a career choice. And I was like, this is all I got to do. I can draw on a computer. It's still art related. And that's what I'm still doing now is just drawing on a computer, man. I like it. So it was just like a random class I signed up for as an elective turned into what my career is. And
that's really cool.
Yeah.
That's really cool.
Grand scheme of things, I'd like to, if there's anybody on a professional sports team watching, please hire me as your graphic designer. I'd like that.
Yeah.
Thank you. That'd be fun.
Yeah, I think that is at some point in my life, if I manage to work for an NHL team.
You were out in Penn State though, right? You work for the hockey crew?
Yeah. So I've been very lucky. So I remember being 10 or 11, and Butler High School had a great basketball team. They were like making states, okay? And my dad was a big basketball guy. Obviously, it was hard to introduce me to basketball in Butler, Pennsylvania.
Mhm.
So he's like, let's go watch the varsity team tonight. And I remember sitting in that gym, and it was so loud. And it was louder than like a Penguins game or anything like that. And I remember how like they were wearing blue and gold. It was the Tornadoes, and I was a Tornado. I was going to be a Tornado like either the next year or year after that. And I remember thinking how cool it would be to play for my high school.
Yeah.
And so fast forward, hockey team, 2 hockey teams, both for the high school. I was like, yes. And as I'm playing and realize that college hockey is a thing, thank you, Miracle, I'm like, man, it would be amazing to play for my university. And I grew up a Penn State fan. For whatever reason, my grandfather gave me a Penn State football when I was really little, and I was just like, that was it. Like I was
That
like,
was
yep,
the club. We're going to it.
yep. I was like, that's what it is. So, Penn State ends up being D1 through weird circumstances. I end up becoming their video guy for 4 years. So I like to joke I got my master's at Penn State. So like I got to play for my university, right? But this time through video. And then because of that, and I've always thought that Team USA was the most important thing you could do. And through that, I got to work for the World Juniors program for 2 years. And I was like, oh, fuck, I did it. Like, I wasn't playing, but I fucking did it. Like, I remember that same, like, around that same time, my dad, like, telling me, he's like, you may not be good enough to play in the NHL. And me being, like, very young and crying and be like, I'll be in the NHL one day. I'll fucking show you. And, like, sure enough, man, I got my university hockey. I got my national team. I played for my high school. So, like, that's the last one. At some point in my career, I'm going to fucking do it.
Yeah, that's the I try to stress that, like you had just mentioned, like you went up and you watched like a varsity team, and like clearly you're like, oh, this is cool. I'm gonna look up to these guys that are playing. So like I try to, like, the whole goal of coaching is, you I was told you have to leave the program better than where you found it.
Yep.
And then like if you just show like the team that you care and you give a shit, like they'll do anything for you.
Yep.
So like those are the two things I kind of like try to do. So like I try to be like, hey, like the kids below you look up to you, like, so like don't ruin that. Like don't do something stupid to be like, I shouldn't have looked up to that person. Like, so it's just stressing those little things and trying to build off of it, and hopefully that works. And then also like I think I was like there's, you probably saw it in high school too, where the football team rags on the soccer team, foot fairies and whatever. So like that's still alive and well in 2021. It shouldn't be.
No.
So you're just like like this is I try to stress, like, this is the word, like nobody outside of America cares about football.
Right.
So like this is it's a world's game. So
yeah,
like
both of the that you coach are world's games.
Yeah, so like, man, just do that. Like, don't care, follow the sport more, watch it more, and realize like it's not just like a small pocket in West Pennsylvania. Like it's everywhere, and that's so like every year, a couple people will like kind of lean into that, and like you still see like some of your former players like still following, like the women's national team is a big one. Like we we went up and saw Alex Morgan speak at Slippery Rock as a team.
That's awesome.
So like that kind of like moved the needle for some of them to keep following them. Other ones are like, who's Alex Morgan? Like, how do you not? You're playing a sport. How do you not know Alex Morgan?
Well, also, as creepy old guys, we know exactly who Alex Morgan is.
Yeah, it helps.
Yeah,
but like you just try to push him in like a positive direction and get them to like enjoy the sport in like in a deeper context of just playing it to play it. Be like, it's something special. It's fun. Like if you ever like even the Riverhounds, like the atmosphere is huge. It's awesome. It's a big deal. Like the whole like the crowd aspect of a game is a huge deal for professional teams. And like if you just sit in on one game, you'll realize, oh, this is something, and it's cool. It's cool to see. And like you even circling back to Ted Lasso, you see that like they cut to the pub a lot, and you see like that fan base, and like that's just, soccer's great. That's what I'm getting at.
Love it. I think that's a good thing to end on there.
It's a good rant. I tried.
Soccer's good.
Soccer's
okay.
Soccer's all right.
Yeah,
Football.
All right, Mike Dawson, thank you so much for driving in.
Hey, no problem.
And thank you for being literally a day one supporter of this show. Like, literally the first episode wasn't out for an hour, and you texted me like, "This is fucking awesome." So
it also helps that like it comes out on a Monday, and I'm sitting at work like, I need something to occupy my brain, and then it takes me away for an hour and a half, and it helps a lot.
Awesome.
Mhm.
That's
What
the
you
best.
want to hear?
Right. All right. This has been a great depression. Remember, we are now in your brains.
Oh yeah, sorry.
Nah, that's all right.
We're now in your brains.
There you go.
be honest, I missed the woo.